welcome to the show. Now, Meghan Markle has done a major sit-down interview with Harper's Bazaar in which she talked about authenticity, obviously huge buzzword at the moment, especially with young people. And it ties in, interestingly, with a report that they've done. But the bizarre thing about it is, so she did this whole interview, beautiful photos, the outfits looked amazing, and then obviously it descended into a huge kind of bin fire on social media quite quickly because Meghan was accused of impersonating Princess Diana in some of these photographs. Now, one thing that's interesting about that,
Jack Royston has got someone's fist so far up his back that his brain has stopped thinking. Royal reporting is often a tale of two standards, you see. In a recent Newsweek podcast, Jack here, the magazine's chief royal correspondent, took aim at Meghan's Sussex Harper Bazaar interview. He criticized Meghan's authenticity. Oh my. Painted her as an out of touch elitist, allegedly, imitating Princess Diana. Hoy, when will it stop? And glossed over the privilege and patchy charity record of guess who? Prince William and his wife. She's still his wife, correct? Okay. So today, let's break down Royston claims one by one, fact check them, and expose the glaring double standards at play. Or perhaps there's just no brain there. This is Majesty's Sussex Report, and I'm Antonio. Thank you for spending some of your valuable time here with us, and sorry for the vulgarity.
We rise, we shine. Magic rising, strong and free. Voices proud in harmony. Truth forever, crowned in gold. Our story lives, it can't be told. We rise, we shine. Magic in our time. We shine. This crown is yours and mine.
Welcome, and hope you're having a fantastic day, or you've had a fantastic day, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Welcome once again. It's great to have you here. So, yesterday I waited and waited and waited, hoping that there would be some photos or anything of Prince Harry. He was here in Toronto for the Oreo Powerhouse conference, but nothing, nada, zero. It's like the guy just flew in as a superhero, did his speech, and flew out, which is great. And I know that he was the last keynote speaker to speak, and I believe he was speaking about service and being a good person, basically, in the world. There has been, I'm aware of it, a show in Canada, which they've had this royal commentator for a little while. I pay no attention to her or to what they say, really. I don't watch that show. But something that they said today really irked me. Actually, they said it yesterday. Really, really irked me. And she had the audacity to call Harry rent a prince. Now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be calling Harry a rent a prince. So, in my indignation, I left a little note in their YouTube channel expressing my disappointment You know what? Why don't I tell you folks what I actually wrote? This is what I wrote. It is disappointing to hear this level of misinformation on a Canadian broadcast, especially from someone presented as a royal expert. These talking points might pass on a UK tabloid morning show, but Canada should expect better. Let's be clear. Prince Harry is not a working royal. He receives no public funds, no taxpayer support, and no government security. He is legally responsible for paying for his high level protection required because of the persistent hostility and rhetoric pushed by commentators. You cannot demand he stop being a working royal, then deny him all state support, and then attack him for earning a private living. That contradiction speaks for itself. If the concern is royals making money, then let's talk facts. Members of the royal family have engaged in commercial ventures for decades. Let me list them. A former king made millions through private real estate schemes, investment partnerships, and cash for access relationships. Sorry, I meant to say a king, not a former. So, my mistake. A former senior royal built a luxury interior business and accepted paid sponsorship. Another royal partnered with commercial hospitality ventures and private luxury events. A royal duchess has written books, signed paid deals, and taken fees for public appearances. A senior royal prince accepted hundreds of thousands of private businessmen money for personal projects. All of this occurred while they still held royal titles, duties, and taxpayer security. None of those individuals were ever called rent a prince. That's where I left it. But this is what I would add. Harry is the only one who stepped away deliberately to avoid exactly this conflict. The late Queen made the boundaries clear, if it was really her who made it. If he wanted independence, he needed to fund his own life. And he has done exactly what Canada has always encouraged immigrants and residents to do, to go to work, to earn, to contribute, and build their own path without relying on the state. Calling him rent a prince while ignoring decades of commercial royal activities is not analysis. It is selective outrage. Do better, Canada. Well, that's what I wrote. Okay. I was so furious. I watched the thing and I kept thinking, what in baby Jesus' name? You know? Anyways, there has been an announcement. The Invictus Games Foundation has announced a series of new grants that will broaden access to adaptive sports and adventure for the international wounded, injured, and sick service community. And I think I can't speak. The found I can't speak. I cannot say this word right now. The found you folks know what I mean. The money, the founding, um, will support initiatives in Lithuania, Kenya, and Estonia. That is all I've got in regards to. I just saw it, so I thought I would bring you folks up to date with that. And as soon as I see any pictures or anything with Prince Harry, I will try and get them out to you. Okay. Now, here's the thing that I've just been. I think it's not. I'm not in awe of it. What I am, I think, in some ways, is tired of it. But I am very determined to continue to provide a contra narrative because, folks, we have to create it, right? Because when we have a digital world that has a million negative stories about Meghan and Harry, a million, right? And we have 10 positive stories about them in regards to any specific issue or topic, unfortunately, right? We have to create the contra narrative so that there's more stories in the digital world, right? So I will say this: since that Harper Bazaar interview and cover and all of that, those people have lost their minds. They have lost their freaking minds. It's all of a sudden there's stories that are surfacing from 7 years ago, 5 years ago. I mean, their favorite thing, of course, is speaking to the dead and bringing back the dead to speak. Now, Jabba the Hutt, or whatever freak his name is, has written some kind of book, and now that is just all over the talking point, talking point, talking point, right? These two idiots, pardon moi, je m'excuse, these two intellectually vacant and without any real substance of honesty, they've gone on to say that the Queen was so fed up with Prince Harry because Prince Harry kept calling the Queen for money. That's all he called for: money, 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 money. And at one point, when she hung up the phone with him, she rolled her eyes, according to one of the butlers, that one of her butlers saw it. Also, also, they're saying that she was so peed off at him because sacrilege. He called her during her tea time, and everyone knows that you should never call the Queen during her tea time. So let me get this straight. Her grandson, right? A member of the freaking family. So if he knows that his granny doesn't like any calls around tea time, and if he indeed is going to be asking her for money, do you think he would be calling her around tea time? Do you think he would? I mean, do these people think we have our brains up our Uranus? Like, what is wrong with these people? So, and no, I have some more really quickly. So they go on to say that Meghan Sussex was spending so much money. She was out of control, out of control. And this Griffith person, she goes, when before Megan joined the family, she was wearing coats. There were $200 and $400. I mean, they're not extravagantly expensive, but they are quite expensive. But when she entered into the royal family, then all of a sudden she was wearing a one ruffle coat, and that coat was £1.5 million. Okay, she didn't say £1.5 million. She said something like 50,000, right? But let me see if my memory, if I go back in time, ding 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 ding. That is the sound of my time machine going back in time. So if I were to go back in time, did we not hear somewhere, read somewhere, that the the prince at the time, future king, said to his son, "Listen, dude, the family is going through some hard time, man. We're going through some hard time. You know, it's like austerity, and we need to be austere because there's austerity. So, listen, we ain't got money for your new wife. Sorry about that, man. Sorry, so sorry. So listen. Don't get upset, though, dude. Listen, she's an actress, right? She's an actress. So listen, I think it would be totally cool if she went back to her acting and do her stuff, so she can pay for her dresses and her gowns and stuff. Like right? Right? I mean, listen, look, listen, my dear darling son. So I'm right. I'm really ridiculous right now, but do pardon me, okay? So, my darling boy, my darling boy, let her let her act, set her free. Yes, yes, we have no money for the color, the one I was walking the aisle with. Down the aisle, yes. I'm telling you, I got some really good press, a really good press. Yes, my darling boy, my darling boy. So I don't know where they went into some seance, and the queen, the deceased queen, the dead queen, told them that Harry was calling her for money. For money. Because Meghan's spending was out of control. Let me see if I get this right again. Okay? Was it not Meghan, the only woman who entered into that family by marriage with her own wealth over $5 million in her account? I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But also, let me refresh my memory again. Let me take the cobwebs out and see if I am wrong here again. Did I not hear, did I not read somewhere that Meghan had to pay, right? That little cottage that they had on the grounds of Kensington Palace? That Meghan paid for the refurbishment with her own money, right? But no, hang on a minute. Meghan is out of control. Out of control in her spending. Out of control. And of course, what would be rewriting history and the narrative to fit in nicely to our little rant that they were having there, because we have spoken to the dead, we have changed figures and numbers and dates and coats and whatever else. Let's bring up the wedding. The favorite thing for those derangers and lack of any intelligence to usually bring up and say, well, we paid so much for the wedding. The Queen paid a lot of money. She is so ungrateful, that wretched woman. We loved her, and we paid billions of pounds for her wedding because she wanted an extravagant wedding. That wretched woman. So they brought up the wedding again. So let me say this one more time. And I'm going to say it especially for those at the very, very, very back of the room. The cheap seats. I know you're standing, darling. I know you're standing because you can afford to sit. But stand, because if you stand, maybe, just maybe, you will hear better what I've got to say. So listen carefully. Estimates put Harry and Meghan's 2018 royal wedding at around, and this is the wedding, meaning the venue, the reception, flowers, and so on, cost £2 to £3 million. Let me repeat, £2 to £3 million. All right? Now, the vast cost for the wedding had nothing to do with the wedding itself, meaning the venue, reception, flowers, and so on. It had to do with the security. Now, whether it was Meghan or any other person marrying the prince, the security would have been a high cost. All right? So the security itself cost The government, not the royal family, the government, about £32 million. All right? Because remember, they're not only protecting at the time Prince Harry and Meghan, they're protecting the entire royal family. You freaking idiots. All right? So £32 million, it's logical. Now, here is the pièce de résistance. Let me say that again. All right? Here is what you people don't like to hear. Here is what you don't, you put on these, I don't know, the Ranger headsets or something so you can hear facts. Analysts, this is not me inventing this, people. Analysts at Brad Finance and others financial institution projected that the event generated for the British economy £1.5 billion. May I repeat that? The event generated for the UK economy £1.5 billion. And that's an estimate. All right? That's an estimate on the lower end. Because the reality is that it actually produced even more for the British economy, which at the time was in a slump. And that gave the British economy a boost. So you morons that keep saying that the wedding cost so much to the British royal family and to taxpayers, let me say this once again to you. Meghan and Harry paid you back not only in full, but paid you back in billions. Billions. The same way how they pay back the renovations for Frogmore Cottage. You see, you've got a problem. The problem is these two people are honest. These two people pay their bills. These two people don't depend on taxpayer charity or money. But you keep hunting them down, telling lies about them. But the ones who cost you so much money, the ones who keep changing their forever home every 3 months? Let me see. We will have to change home, you see, because we have such bad memories in that home. You see, there was something happened in that home. I don't remember quite what happened. I mean, it might have been a Kingston incident. No. Oh, shh. No. No mention about the Kingston incident at all. At all. But you see, the home has such bad memories, you see. There are certain things that I can't quite recall that might have happened there. So we have to move to our forever home somewhere else. I mean, we have been in 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, 25. No, not quite that much. Maybe 5 different homes in the last 2 years. 5? No, maybe 4. Yeah, 4. Or 3. Maybe it was 3. I don't remember. I don't recall any of it as well. To be quite honest, I don't recall. You see, you're willing to accept that those two who give you nothing, but keep asking you to give them more and more and more, you're willing to do it. Because perhaps you're a masochist or I don't know. Maybe because of the way you were treated when you were in private school or boarding school or something. But come on, wake up. Because it's the new narrative now. You know, Meghan was the big spender and she wanted to spend all this money. Let me tell you something, my dear friends. Let me tell you something. Nowhere in their narrative do they say, though, that the now King Charles at the time, Prince Charles, was spending over 6.1 million annually on the upkeep of Big Daddy. Oh, Big Daddy. And his maybe wife still, I'm not sure. Over 6.1 million was being spent on the upkeep, I don't know, for the two of them. But no money for the black biracial actress. And it's not but Prince Philip, Philip said that you do what you do with the actresses, but you don't marry them. Oh, so we're taking marriage advice and from the man that, come on. I'm not gonna say it, but you all know it. You all know it. Take advice, but please. So since that cover story, Harper Bazaar, they have gone absolutely mentally crazy, bringing up things that happened 7 years, 6, 5. Oh, this is and that and this and that. What is wrong with these people? So now that is my rant for the beginning part of this episode. Now let's get into what this this very sad human being. Very sad. At one point, I'm listening to him, and he said, "Well, William is so careful." He said, this was the last time he was ever going to. No, I'm getting it wrong. He said first, well, we were with William, and then he caught himself saying we were with William, and then he said, well, we were invited to be with William, and he said to us that this was the last time he was ever going to speak about Diana, the very last time he was going to speak about Diana, because you see, he was going to close the door on that. He better freaking close the door on that. Because what kind of freaking son goes and speaks to the press and say what he said about his mother? What a piece of shenanigans that man is. Piece of shenanigans. All right. I'm going to just drink some calm me tea and take it easy. I'm going to go la 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 la.
They saw a woman seated softly on a studio floor, arms folded gentle as a prayer, a pose a photographer shaped, and they cried, cosplay imitation, Diana reborn. A chorus of derangers circling like moths to hate, searching for fault as if it were oxygen. But here is the problem with their outrage. Their memories are selective, their standards bend like wet paper in the rain. Because if this is imitation, then what do we call the wardrobe stitched in echo after echo of the late Princess of Wales? Two can play this game, but only one is blamed. One woman's homage is called quiet directive whispered through fittings and fabric. Through the corridors of the palace, Kate steps out in Diana's red, or the sapphire blue, or the polka dots worn in '86. The headlines call it a touching tribute. But Meghan, let her wear a white shirt. Let her cross her legs in quiet thought. Suddenly the mob howls about identity theft, as if a pose belongs to a bloodline, as if art must apologize for resemblance. Tell me, how many spreads have we seen with Kate and Diana's jewelry? Pieces lifted from crown vaults meant to echo the past. They call it symbolism, elegance, heritage. When Meghan breathes near a memory, they call it a crime. Two can play this game, but the rules were never written fair. One woman is praised as the heir to a legacy, the other is accused of stealing. Two can play this game, but the truth beneath the headlines is clear. The double standard is the real impersonator. So let the record play, let the chorus rise. Two can play this game. The deck was stacked the moment she walked in, yet still she stands, still she rises, still they cannot rewrite her
Indeed, two can play this game, and I truly hope that you enjoyed that musical intermission. And I want to set something very clear here. I don't enjoy doing those comparisons or anything like that. If they would just be fair. I had someone message me and said something to the regards of, why do you do this? You know, both women are being treated a certain way, and you shouldn't be doing this to either women. Look, I'm not doing this to either women. I'm responding to the enormous amount of hate and the UK tabloid press and media that consistently goes out and says these horrific things about the Duchess of Sussex. If they were saying it about both women, I would back off, right? But the narrative is that when Kate does it, it's an homage to Princess Diana. When even, many times, when even Meghan is not even trying to do anything, they will find the most minuscule thing and say, oh, there it is. She's cosplaying. She's manipulated Harry in believing she's Diana and all this nonsense. So I'm not doing this because it brings me pleasure. I'm doing it because there needs to be a contra narrative to what the British press and media says all the time about Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Now, let's get on with it.
Fascinating Princess Diana in some of these photographs. Now, one thing that's interesting about that is that at its core is an allegation of inauthenticity. So she wasn't accused of paying tribute to Princess Diana, where it was kind of like an explicit tribute wearing a piece of her jewelry or something like that. She was accused of kind of secretly recreating past photos from Princess Diana's kind of deep archive. And also there were some other kind of really bizarre moments to the interview, which were kind of very sort of like 1% energy, like it came across as really sort of slightly elite. I think the funniest, because it's genuinely is quite funny.
So I must say this. I have found, and this is just my opinion, I have found throughout the last few years of watching, listening, reading royal commentators and those that engaged in that part of their profession and proclaimed themselves to be journalists, I have found them quite stupid, to be quite honest. I mean, the stupidity rises to a level that is quite unbelievable. But then I take a step back and I think, well, who are their audience? Who are the people that foam at the mouth to hear what they will say? I mean, I rest my case. I rest my case. I need say nothing more. Because you see, Fisty Buddy over here, it only takes less than a minute, you see. We've got the technology. And not only we've got the technology, but he supposedly works in that industry. Can he not pick up a phone and find out, well, when they have a photo shoot, how are the clothing chosen? Does the main person bring their own clothes? Oh no, excuse me. They don't bring their own clothes because they will steal it. Of course, we had that accusation also, right? Stealing it. Now, this whole thing about Meghan trying to imitate Princess Diana is one narrative that they've been pushing for quite a while. You see, they've been pushing it because they wanted to infantilize Prince Harry and to make the relationship between Prince Harry and Meghan to seem weird, bizarre, for it to be something disgusting. Because the implication that they're trying to say, for you to see, for you to have in your mind, is that Harry is in love with his mother. Not in the mother-son kind of way. And he is so disturbingly ill. And Meghan, she knows this because, after all, she's the master manipulator, isn't she? And she just pretends to be his mother. She tries to be Diana. I mean, really? Really? That is the best you have? She's trying to be Diana because it was a pose that seemed similar to what Diana did. Now, have any one of you freaking uneducated, moronic people, have any one of you gone to a photo shoot? Have you ever watched a photo shoot? Do you even have any knowledge about it? I know the answer. So you see, people thinking analytical people, when they don't know something and they want the truth of that thing, they ask, they call, they investigate, they research. Right? They don't open their mouth like a I'm telling you, I'm fired up and ready to go. Fired up and ready to go. Because let me educate Mr. Fisty over here. For any high-end magazine cover with a celebrity or personality, the clothing are usually chosen by the magazine's fashion editor. There's a stylist also involved. Now, this is the artistic theme that Harper Bazaar for that issue. Do you honestly think they're going to say to Meghan, "Oh well, can you just pick some of your clothing, and that's how we will shoot you"? I mean, do you think she showed up at the Harper Bazaar photo shoot where there's a creative director, where the photographer has a job to accomplish, and she goes, "Well, excuse me, darlings, excuse me. I'm going to put a blonde wig on to look like Diana, and I also I want to do the poses exactly like Diana." If that were the case, my dearest, that would have been all over. Because in a photo shoot like that, there's not just one person in the room, not two people in the room. And, some people might be going through some financial difficulties, and hey, a couple £1,000 to say what I heard. I mean, come on, folks, stop it. Stop it. It's all reflecting because you know very well who really imitates Princess Diana or tries to. You know very well. So there's usually a fashion editor, creative director, photographer, and that's how the looks are pulled together. They call the designers, pull the clothing that they want to pull to use. This is not Meghan showing up at a photo shoot and saying, "Oh, photograph me like." I mean, people.
Some parts of it. And one of them, she's got this journalist from Harper's Bazaar. She's kind of taking her around. She takes her to this event where there are some young girls who get a chance to meet Meghan, and it's all kind of, I suppose, supposed to be like part of the giving back phase. But then she takes her to this New York house where Meghan's staying, and the house manager there announces Meghan's arrival to an empty room. Basically, there's nobody in the house, it's deserted. And this is what the journalist Caitlin Greenidge wrote. She wrote, "We're in a grand brownstone on the Upper East Side that belongs to one of Meghan's friends. When I enter, the house manager announces Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, even though we appear to be the only other two people in the house." And then there was another meeting. They met at the Polo Lounge at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
So he goes on to talk about the cappuccino machine and how they brought the cappuccino that had Meghan's face on it and all of that, right? In his sort of snarky way, as usual. Now, to begin with, he has the timeline completely wrong, number one. Number two, well, he has it wrong because it's convenient for his narrative of what he's saying. Number two, the way he talks about Meghan meeting this group of young ladies is sort of like a throwaway, like it doesn't matter. It means absolutely nothing. What it shows to us is that the Duke and the Duchess of Sussex are not out there looking for praise, and we had no idea. No one knew that Meghan met with these young ladies. No one knew. But it's part of them giving back. It's part of what she believes in. right? It's part of her initiative from before meeting Prince Harry. Advocating for women, advocating for young girls, for women's rights. It's the same thing when she went to India, when she went to Africa. But you see, it's inconvenient for the narrative for him to say any of that, right? Now, let me say this once again. I said it in the last episode. What the house manager did is quite normal. There's no fuss about what that house manager did announcing Meghan by her title. None at all, right? And nowhere does the journalist, the writer of the article, said that Meghan asked for this or anything to that sort. Not at all. You see, because it's protocol. Example: ambassadors are announced by title when they arrive. Ambassador so and so. You don't just say John Luke just arrived. You say Ambassador John Luke of XYZ country is here. In the UK, senior judges are addressed as Lord or Lady, titles attached to the office. That's not a personal whim. It's not something they just decide, oh, well, announce me. No, it's protocol. If a house manager introduces a duchess by her formal title, it is no different from a court usher announcing Lord Justice in the Royal Courts of Justice. That is protocol, not personality. It is the way it's done, etiquette. And any butler, any house manager are quite formal people, and they will address things in a formal way. So, what is he talking about? I mean, how did you get this job? How do they get these jobs that they do no research whatsoever and they just spew out absolute nonsense? He goes on to talk about the cappuccino, and he says about, oh, she gets a cappuccino, of course, showing like her privilege, and she's of the 1%, and she's trying here to talk about authenticity. He also references this recent research that the Archwell Foundation has done, where young people have said one of the things that they would like more of is authenticity. Because in social media, for example, young people are saying a lot of the people that we see, we know they're not authentic, right? Even politicians, even we know these people are not authentic. They're not being honest with us. So his whole segue here is to say what a hypocrite she is. And the only reason why she's talking about authenticity is because they have this new report that was funded by Archwell Foundation that talks about authenticity. So Meghan and Harry are just cosplaying again. So they're talking about authenticity and then being authentic because, they want to be with the hip, with the young people. Oh, you freaking idiot. What a moron.
That they have overused and over leveraged Diana's memory. So William did talk about Diana a lot, actually, back in 2017 when it was the 20th anniversary of her death. And William and Harry together did these big documentaries about it. But William told a bunch of us journalists who were reporting on it at the time, there was like a kind of press conference and he got us all together. I was there as well. And he said that this was a one-time thing and he wasn't going to do it again. It was, the 20th anniversary of Diana's death. This was their moment when they were going to talk about her, pay tribute to her, discuss her life and her death and the impact that it had on them. And then the box was going to close and he wasn't going to go back to it. But there is a huge amount of skepticism floating around about Meghan using Diana's memory and trying to leverage Diana's fame and Diana's popularity in order. There's an idea that she's trying to further her own cause and her own gain using Diana's memory. And so a kind of malign secret intent is inferred into Meghan's actions. Now, Meghan gets criticized on social media all the time. So her getting criticized is absolutely nothing new. But the amount of interaction that some of these posts were getting in the millions is something that should kind of be a warning sign to Meghan that this is becoming a bit of a difficult subject. And in fairness, there have been some times in the past when, you know, it has been very uncomfortable the way that Meghan has acted about Diana. I think the bit that I found most kind of difficult was a passage from Harry's book Spare, where he talks about taking Meghan out to see Diana's grave for the first time. So Diana's grave is on an island at her family's estate in Northamptonshire, and that's precisely because they didn't want there to be a big public grave where everybody would be able to kind of like constantly turn into a shrine. And
I mean, a lot of what he's saying there can be, misproven very, very, very easily, right? The thing that, I mean, really kind of upsetted me a little bit, I'll be quite honest, was that last part when he talked about almost mocking, you know. For me, perhaps it was disheartening the moment when he chose to mock a deeply human, solemn act of Meghan quietly seeking clarity at Princess Diana's final resting place, where she puts her hands and closes her eyes and prays and asks for clarity. In many cultures, moments of stillness and prayer at 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 a loved one's grave is sacred. It's a sacred thing to do. And for him to mock it, to turn that into fodder for mockery, is low of the low of what they call journalism. It is cruelty masquerading as critique. Hideous, absolutely hideous. It is just unacceptable. He also goes on and he talks about the whole Paris incident, bridge incident. I mean, haven't we cleared that already? Haven't we cleared it that all of that comes from one of the hate accounts that exist out there? So now we have reputable media, as we think Newsweek is, repeating again these falsehoods. Then he goes to say that Harry and Meghan are out there trying to just make money, that they don't even have time for charities, really. Should I list the amount of charities that Harry and Meghan do? You freaking idiot. Should I list it? Because it seems that you don't know how to do research whatsoever. But he praises, he says that Prince William and Kate work so hard. They work so hard. And they don't receive a penny for what they do. But they're working ins and outs. Poor thing. I mean, really. Really. So, while questioning Meghan's sincerity, he gave William and Kate a pass. Yet, the record shows the future king and queen consort have often struggled to meet the mark on active public service. Even British media, normally differential to whether they're working or not, have noted that William and Kate performed far fewer official engagements than older royals, leading tabloids to brand William as work-shy Will, and Kate by extension, of course. I mean, they were saying this in 2016. Princess Anne, hardly a biased source reportedly, grew so annoyed at William for not doing anything, leaving her to do most of the work at investiture ceremonies. William and Kate have carved out an enviable work-life balance for themselves. According to one report, the Welleses say no to many events to protect their family time. I mean, that's fine. Mental health and parenting are important. But consider how this is covered versus Meghan's story. Royston slams Meghan for inauthenticity, exposing values like living comfortably. But he fails to mention that William and Kate take multiple luxury vacations annually and often skip traditional royal engagements without drawing tabloid anger. This year alone, the Princess of Wales managed, and the Prince of Wales, right, managed to do at least have 5 getaways. 5. They had 2 trips to the French Alps, a Caribbean retreat in Mustique, family vacation in Greece. All this while her tally of official duties was shrinking, shrinking, and shrinking. I mean, she only did the things that brought her joy and pleasure. Look, I'm not blaming her. But I'm saying if you're going to do the comparison, do it right. Do it right. None of this makes it into Royston podcast takedown. He paints Meghan as the dilettante, while William and Kate, who literally spend years being called idle and lazy by British press, are portrayed as earnest and relatable and reliable. It's a blatant double standard. Meghan was a self-made working woman before Harry, and she's remained actively engaged in public work after leaving. Yet she's caricatured as a narcissistic socialite now. William and Kate inherited palaces, take frequent private jet breaks, and routinely do the minimum amount of royal appearances, yet are so seldom treated the way Meghan and Harry are. They live the high life. But does he mention that? No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, what kind of reporting is that? Bias? Absolutely. Absolutely biased. That's what it is. Authenticity in action? You think that William and Kate are authenticity in action? Now, Jack Royston's final broadside was that Meghan and Harry talk a big game about compassion and charity, but are somehow not authentic. That's what he thinks, implying it's all for show and for profit. He contrasts the Sussexes' messaging on leadership and impact with their signing of entertainment deals, suggesting a profit motive undercut their credibility. What Royston did not do is acknowledge that the Sussexes, okay, vilification track record of being volunteers, philanthropy. These things are verifiable, but instead they love to vilify them instead. Much of it undertaken with far less fanfare than the typical royal photo op. So let's set the record straight. Meghan and Harry have showed up and have done the work in ways that are thoroughly documented. Go look it up, Jack. Go look it up. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, well before any Netflix show, the couple quietly volunteered with Project Angel Food in Los Angeles, personally delivering meals to critically ill people. Come on. These people are they're just incredible, aren't they? Incredible. Jack Royston commentary on Meghan wasn't just a critique of one interview. It was a case study in the bias lens through which much of the UK royal coverage still operates. Meghan is vilified. She's categorized as this faux humanitarian because she gave an interview about authenticity while wearing designer clothing. William and Kate are exalted for far less substantive efforts while living off a fortune and vacationing freely. Meghan is slammed with ugly allegations of impersonating Princess Diana, while Kate literal Diana tributes are praised. Harry and Meghan need to earn a living, all right? This is not greed. While William multi-million pound allowance is politically ignored. Let's not talk about that. The facts tell a different story. Meghan and Harry have consistently put their values into action, whether through volunteering, philanthropy, or speaking out against injustice. Their authenticity isn't about perfection, it's about intention backed by deeds. Conversely, the heirs' family enjoy vast amount of wealth and sympathetic media. So, who is holding who accountable? Who is holding up what standards? Let's be honest. Let's have some accountability, especially for the media. Look, in the end, a fair editorial assessment would recognize that Meghan Sussex, the Duchess of Sussex, is not the shallow caricature some would have you believe. You can quote her detractors and their snarkiness about her fashion shoot, but you can't erase the tangible good she and Harry have done and continue to do. Just as you can't pretend that William and Kate are flawless. They're not. And they're not the example of hard work. They're not. Authenticity is as authenticity does. No amount of podcast punditry can change the truth that actions speak louder than tabloid rhetoric. I rest my case. Well, I have to say to start, thank you for being here. Sorry for the late upload again. Oh, this drives me crazy. It drives me so crazy, but it is what it is. Thank you. That's all I can say is thank you. I hope you found this episode informative. I hope you got something out of it. And once again, thank you for your support. It's much appreciated. Thank you for continuing to do the things you do. If you're not a subscriber and you enjoyed listening, watching, please subscribe, share, comment, stay around. I really do appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. It's going to be a quick goodbye so I can upload this and get this going, okay? Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. God bless. And until we speak again, bye for now. Mwah.
They saw a woman seated softly on a studio floor, arms folded gentle as a prayer, a pose a photographer shaped, and they cried, cosplay, imitation Diana reborn. A chorus of derangers circling like moths to hate, searching for fault as if it were oxygen. But here is the problem with their outrage. Their memories are selective. Their standards bend like wet paper in the rain. Because if this is imitation, then what do we call the wardrobe stitched in echo after echo of the late Princess of Wales?